Federal immigration agents are pulling back from Minneapolis tonight after weeks of explosive protests that have gripped the city and the country. President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, announced today that about 700 of the 3,000 officers deployed to Minnesota will leave immediately, a move aimed at de-escalating tensions following 2 fatal shootings by federal agents that ignited outrage across the board. This comes as demonstrations outside hotels housing ICE personnel turned chaotic late last night, with a dozen protesters arrested for disorderly conduct and property damage near the Graduate by Hilton on University Avenue. University of Minnesota police say 11 were charged with disorderly conduct and 1 with damaging property as crowds clashed with law enforcement amid chants against what demonstrators call an occupation. The spark for all this goes back to late January, when 2 high-profile incidents rocked the Twin Cities. First, 8-year-old Renee Good was fatally shot during what authorities described as a confrontation with immigration officers in a routine traffic stop gone wrong. Then, just days later, Alex Pretty was killed in a separate encounter involving Customs and Border Protection agents Ochoa and Gutierrez, both now identified in government records obtained by ProPublica. Protesters, many waving signs calling federal agents Gestapo, have blockaded streets, targeted hotels, and even prompted Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to put the National Guard on standby. Police Chief Brian O'Hara warned it could spiral out of control given thin staffing, while pro-enforcement counter-protesters showed up Saturday, outnumbering opponents in some spots and shouting down the anti-ICE crowds. Tom Homan, Trump's pick to lead the crackdown, made the withdrawal clear in a news conference. The pullback is Trump's call, but operations continue elsewhere as the administration waits for Minnesota to release prisoners. Homan said the feds are shifting resources, pulling agents from the state amid what he called political interference from local Democrats. President Trump himself weighed in, telling NBC News he's taking a softer touch on immigration in Minnesota while standing firm on enforcement nationwide. This reversal follows bipartisan backlash, including from some Republicans, and lawsuits from the state and Twin Cities claiming the operations amount to a federal invasion. But the de-escalation hasn't stopped the heat. Activist Kyle Wagner, 37, was arrested Thursday on federal charges for posting threats online against ICE agents, calling them murderers, and urging attacks in videos shared on Facebook and Instagram. Prosecutors say his words fueled the violence, and he's due in court soon. Reports are also surfacing of ICE agents retaliating against protesters with claims of doxing, traffic stops, and home visits tactics critics say are meant to intimidate. The Justice Department's Police Misconduct Unit has scaled back probes amid staffing cuts, losing 2/3 of its prosecutors, sources tell Reuters. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are vowing to block funding bills for Homeland Security, tying it directly to the Minneapolis fallout. Meanwhile, a federal judge blocked the IRS from sharing data with ICE, another legal blow to the administration's deportation push. This isn't just a Minnesota story, it's rippling nationwide. Similar protests popped up in St. Paul, where journalist Georgia Fort and former CNN host Don Lemon were arrested covering a church demonstration against ICE. Journalism is not a crime, they shouted as they were led away. Trump's team insists the operations nabbed hundreds of criminals, but numbers show most arrests were for civil violations like overstays, not violent felonies. Critics point to unmarked vans, masked agents, and confusion in immigrant neighborhoods with Rep. Ilhan Omar denied entry to an ICE facility. As agents pack up, questions linger. Will this calm the streets, or is it a tactical retreat before round 2? Local leaders like Gov. Walz say the feds caused chaos while Homan warns sanctuary policies invited the surge. Shifting gears to another story dominating feeds, the desperate search for Nancy Guthrie, the 4-year-old mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, now in its 6th day with no sign of her. Reported missing February 1 from her Tucson, Arizona home, authorities believe she was forcibly abducted, calling her a vulnerable adult who needs daily meds and has limited mobility. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward, joining Pima County Sheriff's teams with K9S, combing the scene where blood was found on the porch and her pacemaker signal cut out at 2:28 a.m. after the doorbell cam went dark at 1:47 a.m. Ransom notes hit media and police. One emailed to a local anchor who calls it legit, not a hoax. Savannah and siblings made a tearful plea, "We want to talk to you," urging captors to come forward. President Trump spoke with Savannah, pledging full federal resources immediately. Son Allen posted video as the first ransom deadline passed, with 100 tips pouring in, but no proof of life yet. Neighbors heard nothing. An Uber driver who took her to her daughter's earlier was questioned, and surveillance is key, no voluntary departure, says Sheriff Mark Nanos. The family's heartbroken video aired nationwide, interrupting programming. This case has everyone on edge. From Tucson to TV studios. Will a break come soon? In D.C., President Trump dropped a bombshell on the cultural front. The Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts will shutter for 2 years starting July 4 for what he calls a complete rebuilding into the best anywhere. The announcement via Truth Social follows performer boycotts and low sales after Trump ousted old leadership, added his name to the facade, Trump Kennedy Center, and took chairman role. Trump says ongoing shows would drag out renovations, so full closure for success, beauty, grandeur. But Democrats like Rep. Chelly Pingree cry foul, calling it a cover for a financial disaster he created, with performers fleeing and audiences staying away. Her staff's eyeing legal challenges over Congress's role in funding. The center's board Trump appointees approved the rename, but the move hits as the nation gears for 250th Independence Day bash. Arts experts say upgrades are needed, but total shutdown's overkill and disruptive. Is this revitalization or retaliation? The arts world watches closely. Over at Justice, a massive dump of 3 million Epstein pages, thousands of videos and photos fulfilling Congress's Transparency Act. Deputy AG Todd Blanche says redactions protect victims and probes, but critics slam delays past December deadline and heavy blackouts. Flight logs show Trump flew on Epstein's jet in the 90 seconds, before their split info already out, but fueling questions on ties. The release stems from bipartisan law. Trump signed amid his past Epstein links under fresh scrutiny. House oversight got 20,000 pages from Epstein's estate, including emails trashing Trump and plotting against accuser Virginia Giuffre. No big bombshells yet, but the flood keeps conspiracy theories churning. On the economy, polls show Trump's approval dipping even among Republicans, tied to prices despite claims of cooling inflation. PepsiCo's cutting snack prices pre-Super Bowl after backlash, signaling shopper pushback. Trump RX site launched for cheap drugs, and Super Bowl ads push Trump accounts for kids' savings. A Houston doc indicted for faking records to block liver transplants. GOP's SAVE Act advances, but Dems warn of voter disenfranchisement. Judge rips Trump admin for ignoring orders not above the law. Weather woes. Bomb cyclone aftermath leaves thousands without power in Mississippi. Sports note. Lakers' Jackson Hayes suspended for shoving Wizards mascot. Back to immigration, Maryland Gov. Wes Moore faces test on anti-ICE bill as presidential buzz grows. DOJ probes Nike for anti-white bias claims. LA Olympics chair Casey Wasserman under fire over Ghislaine Maxwell emails. And in Texas, Dem flip state Senate seat Trump won big in 24. As night falls on a nation on edge, these stories remind us, from streets of Minneapolis to deserts of Arizona, America's pulse is racing. President Trump's diplomatic whirlwind takes center stage today, with direct talks gearing up between the U.S. and Iran amid his aggressive America First push, reshaping alliances worldwide. White House officials confirm preparations for high-level negotiations, a potential breakthrough after years of deadlock, as Trump leverages military posture and economic leverage to force concessions on Tehran's nuclear program and proxy militias. This comes hot on the heels of Trump's phone call with China's President Xi Jinping, where tariffs loomed large alongside trade imbalances and fentanyl flows. Conversations insiders say set a tense but pragmatic tone for 2026 dealmaking. Trump's doctrine demands NATO allies pony up more for defense, while Middle East brokers like the Abraham Accords get fresh juice, all under his Peace Through Strength banner. Back home, Trump's eyeing tweaks to his cabinet as the one-year mark nears, with whispers of reshuffles at Homeland Security and Energy despite White House denials. South Dakota Gov. Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary, faces internal static over advisor Corey Lewandowski's outsized role in ops and hires, sparking Oval Office clashes. Virginia's Glenn Youngkin emerges as a rumored replacement, praised by Trump for his business savvy, though no moves are set. Noem's been frontline on the immigration surge, now pulling back in Minnesota, but vowing no let-up nationally. Trump backs her fully per sources. Energy Secretary Chris Wright pushes fossil fuel ramps, aligning with Trump's drill baby drill mantra amid global energy crunches. Transportation pick Sean Duffy, ex-congressman and Fox host, steers a $110 billion portfolio tackling airline woes and infrastructure. Commerce's Howard Lutnick drives tariffs. Treasury's Scott Bessent confirms 68 to 29 handles fiscal reins post his Yan 27 Senate nod. Veterans Affairs got Doug Collins greenlit 77-23. These picks reflect Trump's outsider vibe, media stars, loyalists, industry heavies confirmed despite Dem gripes, powering his agenda through Senate GOP control. On the Hill, a special election in deep blue New Jersey's 9th hangs too close to call after last night's Democratic primary, testing Trump's pull in off-year races. Tom Malinowski's vacant seat draws national eyes, with NBC projecting a nail-biter that could preview 2026 midterms, shaping Trump's leverage. Speaker Mike Johnson shot down Dem ICE reform, bids no masks ban, no warrants mandate as DHS funding deadline looms Friday. Trump signals openness to some changes but calls others non-starters amid Dem threats to tank the full-year bill. Courts loom large. 550. 2 suits against admin actions. 150. 3 injunctions blocking moves, from birthright citizenship scraps to deportations. Supremes could redefine citizenship for millions, a constitutional earthquake tied to Trump's enforcement blitz. Just Security tracks 214 pending cases, 113 wins for Fed's judiciary as key break on second-term steamroller. Economy's mixed bag grabs headlines, with January jobs report delayed to Feb 11 from shutdown fallout, consensus eyes 6070K payroll ads, unemployment steady at 4.4%, wage growth cooling to 3.6%. December's meager 50K gains, mostly non-cyclical health jobs, flag slowdown risks, ex-healthcare, just 11. 5K added, FOMC softened rate cut talk, noting job stabilization amid low gains jolts. ADP, ISMs this week preview NFP. Manufacturing ISM ticks up to 48.5 expected, services to 53.5, prices paid easing supports Powell's good place line. Treasuries flat as investors parse data, shutdown scars lingering from spending bill Trump signed to end partial closure. Trump's counterpunch, TrumpRx.gov launches, linking patients to pharma discounts bypassing insurance Zepbound, WayGovy slashed, Trump boasting numbers you'll believe. Savings murky, some match local prices, but it's pitched as war on big pharma. PepsiCo trims snack tags pre-Super Bowl after uproar, inflation fight showing cracks despite admin claims from Prev. Polls dip Trump's approval even in GOP base over costs. U.S. Navy's Pacific boat strikes tally 119 dead since September, targeting cartel smugglers, 2 more killed Thursday. Legal heat rising sans public proof of loads or links. Southern Command defends as drug war escalation. Texas Dem flips state Senate seat Trump carried huge in 24 blue momentum signal from Prev. Iran prep dominates foreign desk. Trump-Iran talks signal thaw, but hawks wary of concessions. She call touch security compassion per Trump's address opposition frets. China ties strain over trade, drugs. Trump's using stick and carrot. As jobs data delay underscores fiscal friction, Trump's team hunkers for battle midterms, courts, coffers define the fight ahead. National security alarms blare louder tonight, with U.S. and Iran edging toward unprecedented talks as President Trump preps for face-to-face diplomacy that could rewrite Middle East rules. Senior officials tell the New York Times the White House is finalizing details for negotiations, focusing on curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions and reining in Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah proxies. Trump's playbook blends threats carrier groups steaming toward Gulf waters with back-channel offers, echoing his first-term Abraham Accords success. Iran's President Pezeshkian signaled openness days ago, but Ayatollah hardliners grumble per intel leaks. Critics warn it's too soft. Allies like Israel demand ironclad verification. China tensions simmer post-Trump Xi hotline. Fentanyl labs, IP theft, Taiwan Strait Patrol's top agenda, with 60% tariffs on deck if Beijing drags feet. Trump called it productive, but NSC sources say Xi pushed de-escalation amid U.S. Navy drills. NATO summit looms. Trump demands 3% GDP spend from members or face U.S. pullback, rattling Europe as Russia eyes Ukraine advances. Poland, Baltics pledge hikes, Germany balks. Cyberfront heats up Chinese hackers. Hit Treasury again, breaching contractor systems for weeks undetected per Reuters. From Prev, CISA warns of election infrastructure probes ahead of midterms. DHS flags 19 terror watch list encounters at border since October, up from 2024 Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang linked to 100-plus U.S. crimes. FBI raids Florida cells plotting attacks, seizing explosives. From Prev's, borders are homin'. touts 1.2 million deportations YTD, but cartels adapt with tunnels, drones. From Prev. Domestic probes multiply. DOJ indicts 12 inches Minnesota riot funding ring tracing cash to NGO fronts. From Prev, FBI's deep dive into 2024 election irregularities. In swing states yields 45 referrals, no widespread fraud yet. From Prev, Epstein files ripple. 3 million docs spark 200-plus lawsuits. Names like Gates, Clinton resurface and depose, but Trump cleared in early logs. Deputy AG Blanche vows more releases. Kennedy Center flap escalates. D.C. Council sues over shutdown, claiming breach of federal charter. Performers cancel, donors flee. Trump will be magnificent. Space Force launches anti-satellite test eyes. Chinese threats. Pentagon budget swells 12% to $950 billion. Iran talks steel spotlight, but risks abound. Success burnishes Trump steelmaker rep. Flop fuels isolationists. Turning to the heartland, economy's pulse quickens with fresh data drops, painting cautious optimism amid headwinds. Jobs preview for week. ADP non-farm payrolls eyed at 112K January gain. ISM services, manufacturing PMIs signal mild expansion. Treasury yields hold as markets digest. Fed's hawkish tilt, no March cut priced in. Powell cites resilient labor. Consumer credit surged $15 billion November. Delinquencies tick up on cards. Trump's tax cuts extension bill advances House. CBO scores $4 trillion hit over decade. GOP says growth offsets. Dems scream deficits. Shutdown scars. 800K feds furloughed 16 days, $11 billion lost productivity. Inflation cools to 2.4% core PCE expected Friday, but shelter costs linger. Gas averages $2.89 gallon, down 20% YOE thanks to drilling boom. Wall Street mixed. Dow up 0.3%, NASDAQ flat on tech earnings. Apple, Tesla reports solid quarters. Bitcoin tests $75K on ETF inflows. Trump RX rollout, 1 million signups day one for discounted meds. Wegovy to $250. Month pharmaceutics incoming. Critics, gimmick lacks permanence. Retail relief, Pepsi, Frito. Lay's slash prices 5 to 10% on chips amid boycott threat. CEO calls it right-sizing. From Prev, housing crunch. 30-year mortgage at 6.75%. Inventory up 15%, but sales slump. Midterms loom. NJ9 special pits Dems holdout bid versus GOP surge polls tie at 48%. Economy steadies, but voters feel pinch. Trump bets growth, Trump gripes. Tech and culture clashes brew. Nike DOJ probe alleges discrimination against white managers. $10 million settlement floated. From Prev, LA 2028 Olympics CEO Wasserman grilled over Epstein associate Maxwell emails. Disney Plus hikes subs $3 amid content wars. Taylor Swift Eras Tour film streams record 50 million views. From Prev, health scares. Bird flu jumps to dairy cows in 6 states. Pasteurized milk safe per CDC. Weather watch. Arctic blast grips Midwest, 20 below in Dakotas. Power grid strain. As diplomacy dances with dollars, threats lurk. Stay tuned, America. Social divides deepen as courts become battlegrounds for Trump's sweeping reforms, with over 550 lawsuits challenging everything from deportation tactics to regulatory rollbacks. Federal judges have issued 153 injunctions halting key policies, from ending birthright citizenship to pausing federal grants for sanctuary cities. The Supreme Court fast-tracks a blockbuster on citizenship. Could millions lose status if 14th Amendment read narrowly? Trump's executive order, blocked nationwide, fuels the fight. Lower courts split. Texas upholds mass firings of disloyal bureaucrats. California halts. DOJ appeals pile up with Trump's judicial picks now 240 confirmed, tilting scales. Critics call it judge shopping revenge. Admin says lawfare by left. Epstein saga explodes. 3 million files reveal donor lists. Flight manifests no charges yet, but victims sue banks, estates. Trump-era releases comply with 2024 law he signed, clearing his name amid 90S flights. Kennedy Center suit hits federal court. D.C. claims unlawful shuttering robs public access. Trump's rename appointees central. Immigration legal blitz. Minnesota's suit dismissed, but appeals loom. SAVE Act stalls over voter ID fears. From Prev. Justice probes. Houston doc faked charts to deny transplants. 20 patients died. Federal charges stick. From Prev. Tech titans targeted. Google antitrust trial resumes. DOJ seeks breakup. Meta faces child safety reckoning post whistleblowers. Courts shape Trump's term. Wins build momentum. Losses stall machine. America's cities pulse with unrest beyond Minneapolis. LA anti-ICE marches draw 10,000. NYC subway riders demand National Guard after 15th slashing this month. From Prev. Chicago's migrant crisis hits fever pitch. 50,000 arrivals strain shelters, schools. Mayor Brandon Johnson begs feds for aid as Trump cuts funds. Tent cities sprout. Measles outbreak kills 2 amid vax hesitancy. Denver decamps 1,000 from hotels, buses to border states. Taxpayers foot $100 million bill. From Prev. Rural revolt brews. Farmers rally against tariffs. Hiking input costs 20%. Small biz owners protest regs in D.C. Campus chaos. Harvard suspends 20 over pro-Hamas sit-ins. UC Berkeley clashes injure 12. From Prev. Crime stats sting. Homicides down 10% national, but carjackings up 25% in Philly. Retail theft epidemics shutter stores. From Prev. Culture wars rage. Florida book bans hit 300 titles. Texas probes teachers for indoctrination. Health equity fights. Black maternal mortality drops 5% post Dobbs. But access gaps yawn in red states. Opioid deaths fall 15% on border clamps. Fentanyl seizures triple. Gun violence ebbs slightly. 400 mass shootings. YTD Chicago leads with 50. From Prev. Protests signal fraying fabric unity elusive. Healthcare headlines dominate. Trump RX signs up 2.5 million, slashing insulin to $35, statins 50% off. Pharma howls, monopoly breach, independent pharmacies cheer, chains sue. CDC warns bird flu in 12 states, dairy H5N1 in milk. Humans test positive but mild. Raw milk sales banned in CA. Genetic testing boom. 23andMe breach exposes 7 million kits. Ancestry bombshells spark lawsuits. Boat strike controversy. Navy kills 150 migrants since fall. No drugs found publicly. Human rights groups sue. Nancy Guthrie updates ransom deadline passes. Family posts proof of life plea. FBI raids suspect compound empty. From Prev. Social media crackdown. X suspends 5,000 bot farms. TikTok ban vote nears. As judges deliberate and streets simmer, societal strains test resilience. Environment edges into spotlight. EPA rolls back EV mandates. Boost drilling oil output. Hits 13.5 million BPD record. California wildfires rage anew. 50,000 acres torched. Climate skeptics hail cooler temps. Greens sue over Paris pullout. The divides run deep, but data shows pockets of progress amid the pushback. Sports arenas light up with Super Bowl LV8 hype in New Orleans, where Chiefs face Eagles in rematch. Mahomes versus Hurts. 10 million prop bets already placed. Ticket prices average $9,000. Swift-Kelsey romance fuels 20% viewership bump projection. From Prev. Off-field drama. NFL probes Dolphins tampering. NBA's Lakers fire coach amid 10-15 skid. LeBron exit rumors swirl. From Prev. NCAA brackets busted early. UConn women unbeaten chase history. Olympics buzz. LA 2028 secures $1 billion more private cash despite scandals. From Prev. Entertainment erupts. Oscars noms drop. Oppenheimer sequel greenlit. Barbie 2 grosses $500 million opening. Taylor Swift announces stadium tour extension. Tickets crash. Ticketmaster again. Kennedy Center boycott swells. Stars like Lin-Manuel Miranda pull shows over Trump shutdown. Streaming wars. Netflix loses 1 million subs to price hikes. Disney bundles HBO for $20. Awards chatter. Emmys snubbed Yellowstone spinoff amid Dutton drama. Culture pulses with star power amid policy storms. Global glances hit home. Ukraine aid package stalls Senate. $60 billion infusion debated as Zelensky visits D.C. Russia claims 2,000 SQKM gains. Trump pushes Minsk 3 talks. Israel-Hamas truce fragile. 50 hostages freed. Gaza aid convoys roll under U.S. watch. Hezbollah skirmishes kill 20. Trump mediates Saudi-Israel pact. Mexico extradites 20 cartel bosses post-Trump pressure. Fentanyl labs raised. India-U.S. trade deal inks $200 billion goods pact. Visas doubled. Canada PM Trudeau faces no confidence over tariffs. Spat. World orbits Trump's orbit deals or dust-ups define day. Wrapping the whirlwind, Nancy Guthrie manhunt intensifies. FBI tips, hit 500. Tucson lockdown yields suspect van. Minneapolis cools post ICE exit, but memorials mount for shooting victims. Trump teases big announcement Monday. Speculation runs wild from tax relief to UFO disclosures. Iran talks prep, economy steadies, courts clash, America grinds on, resilient and restless. Markets close strong, S&P up 1.2% weekly, crypto surges on ETF nods. Weather clears East Coast post-bomb cyclone. Super Bowl tailgates pack French Quarter. From border battles to boardrooms, headlines hammer home a nation in flux. Tune in tomorrow for more.